Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another special edition of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGilvray, and as always, I'm joined by Jess Kebble and Simon Stacey. This week, we have a special guest, Finn Brown, on ahead of the PRC competition and the Tigers game at the weekend. And he will be coming up a little bit later. But before then, we're going to have a brief debrief of the Sale fixture, which felt to me like a big moment in the season. What do you two think?
Massively, yeah.
Massive
statement.
yeah.
Massive statement laid out there because you don't win. We don't win up north, do we? Normally, not many teams do. But
Well, we don't win at Sale. We win up north, just not at Sale.
That's what I meant. Right,
Yeah.
sorry.
The true north, we don't. We win there fairly often, yeah.
Northwest, yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely what a game as well for the neutral. I think didn't I read the score changed hands 11 times, like the lead.
I thought 6. I think 11's a bit
was
key,
it?
but 6 of it.
6. Oh, okay.
But I
don't
might
know
be
about
wrong.
that.
But I thought 6. But yeah.
But yeah, wow. Yeah, considering we don't get many wins, I think I've been up there about 10 times. I think I've only ever seen us win twice. So it was very impressive all-round performance. And yeah, 5 points is perfect. And we finished the groups before the internationals top of the league like we wanted. So perfect.
Yeah, it's a huge duck to get off the back. So I think we'd won there in possibly even it was the LV Cup at that point in like 2018. But in terms of Prem win, it's been 2017. So it's been 9 years we haven't actually been able to, and we've won the title in that time. That's how difficult. That's how difficult it is to win away there, and they've always been. I mean, at least in recent years, have always been close fixtures. So I think all of us, when we were thinking about how it was going to go, were like, it's probably going to be close. I think it wasn't quite as close as we were necessarily expecting, just because of HP magic at the end. But it was still up until that moment, it was a very, very close fixture, kind of as we expected. But yeah, I think it's a huge statement, just because, like I said, you don't really get many. No one really gets away wins there. Plus, even the club will admit, despite the 5 points against Scarlets, like we struggled, in our previous 2 matches. And I'm not going to say that that performance was perfect. We still had some time, particularly that second half of the first half, if that makes sense. We kind of struggled a little bit after getting the 14-0 lead. But yeah, to come back and get that win, definitely a huge statement, because Sale had quite a lot on the line, didn't they? Really, they're not. I don't think they're physically out of it technically, but they realistically are now. And so that win, so that win was really, that win would have been really important for them, and they did show up for large parts of the game. But yeah, a massive statement. And like you said, it's we've now got pretty much 2 months on the top, and then when we come back, it's a game against Newcastle, which you'd fancy yourself winning as well. So it definitely helps to get ahead of the pack as we have the break.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how strong they go in that Newcastle game, because obviously a week after Six Nations, and there'll be requirements, and we don't know fully who's going to play in all the fixtures. You could end up with Big Trev or someone playing quite a lot of minutes in that tournament, and then we're short or whatever. But anyway, we'll deal with that in the future. But yeah, I think you're right. Like for me, it felt like we haven't had that feeling watching the game for a while, whereby the team just kept on task. It's like they just kept trying to score. They kept trying to attack. They managed to swing the momentum constantly in their favour, and really you sort of had that confidence that they were going to win. Like, I know the early start helps, the quick start helps and gets you on the front foot, but they just seem to constantly be able to grab control of that game, and so, in my view, really seemed to be on the back foot for they were trying to stay in it, and they got ahead obviously a few times, but they seem to almost be chasing quite a lot. I think I thought it was a truly really top performance, and physically one of the best we've had in a while. And it's the return of the set piece as well. Like where's the scrum and line out being the last? I mean, scrum got better last week, but it was on top, wasn't it? I mean, Big Trev and Manny were on fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
They definitely were. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely up front, because I think we said before, felt like we would probably always be able to score 4 tries, but yeah, it's like the physicality, the upfront battle, and like whether we were going to be able to hold. Because even though I know they do have, they still have some injuries in that squad, like they're still a big physical, like upfront unit. Like no matter who plays, they seem to always be a physical upfront unit. So yeah, it's really good to be able to compete on that level. And then obviously there was some, I'm not saying that the backs didn't do a good job because like they definitely did, but yeah, that was a game for like standout performances from the forwards for me.
Yeah, it seems to be the case of like when we play a team that is renowned physical, they go into it with this real big mindset of like we need to match them, we need to bar up, we really need to go after it physically, and then they go out and perform exceptionally well and dominant at the forwards, etc. When you play against a team that don't necessarily have the same reputation as Sale do physically, like they don't seem to have that like desire to but like it's not part of the messaging going in. Whereas you think like that performance needs to be the standard effort in terms of barring up front because they just really got the upper hand physically, but also not just. I also think the difference was not just physical dominance, but actual pace and movement of the forwards as well. The forwards were hitting lines, support lines, offloading. They were playing at pace. It's almost like Sale Pack couldn't cope with the level of pace of the forwards. Because they couldn't cope, it really enabled them to physically get on top. It's all well and good trying to tackle JJ, but if you're also trying to tackle JJ whilst you're playing at a pace that you can't deal with, it just gets on top of you, doesn't it? And I think that, like, yes, they fronted it up, they barred up, they're physical, but the whole performance in terms of keeping on mantra of playing as fast as they can really made them look exceptional and really took them to another level.
Yeah, I
Yep.
feel like a really good kind of example. There's plenty of them, but like a good example is really the Kemeny try that's obviously started from Chick, who just picks up the ball and is off, right? Like you said, that they're all in the mantra of like we need quick ball off of the
And
off of the
to put on
the
that one as
breakdown.
well
And
came from Coles' support line
mm,
on Bellio as well. So like it was, yeah,
yeah,
Chick was pacing it, but it was even one step
yeah,
before then. It was good forward play and good support play.
yeah, yeah. That, him just picked up the ball off he went and just got through the gap. And then obviously like Mitch, and then we're starting to see some of the old things that we really like to see like a season or so ago of like Kemeny on the wing, getting them over the line off the wing. Like it's like, oh, we're starting to see some of the old flashes of, the things that were really exciting to see like last season and the season before. And yeah, it was just definitely like 1 to 8. Like was just like stand out from everybody. Like everybody was just on it. And like you said, it's that platform that then allows your backs to also then score tries and keep the scoreboard ticking over. And yeah, if it's not, the whole thing really was definitely personified by like Chick's performance for the whole match. I mean, that guy was just like a machine. Like I said, who had a target and something that he wanted to do and wanted to achieve, and was just on it for 80 minutes. Like that performance was incredible from him.
Yep, he had to have been man of the match, or there'd have been a riot. I reckon he was immense. That's what I said. He's got to be up there as one of the signings of the season. We knew the quality of the boy, but and the leadership, but yeah, he's just come into a side that is no disrespect to Newcastle, is another level, and you can see he sits at that level perfectly. So he was amazing. Yeah, the whole, like you said, the whole forwards were amazing, and you've got to give kudos to the analytic team, because obviously they analyse teams, don't they? Like you just said, we're the normal, quick, fast-paced play of rugby, but they literally fronted up. They were aggressive. Yeah, it was just a full 23 performance from everybody, even the subs that come on. Everybody made their impact, and we won't mention HP yet because he always gets mentioned. But my God, but yeah, it was a mad game though. It was a proper old like fight. Where they lead, we're in the
Mm,
lead. They're in the lead,
It's a
we're in the
yeah.
lead.
great, it's a
It's
great
great
game.
for a neutral, not for actually. Oh, we're way ahead now. I was like, oh no, we're losing. It was just like I was watching it in the pub as well. I was drinking, so it wasn't, that didn't help. The alcohol doesn't help.
You mentioned him there, HP, etc. When we talked about Chick and Kemeny was unreal. Like he had
Oh my
so
God,
much to
yeah,
the line out, and
he
and yeah,
does.
carrying in those wide channels is top draw. And Pearson's like Pearson maybe went a bit under the radar in the game, but wow, he is everywhere. But like I don't know, and Sammy Graham wasn't even involved. I genuinely don't know how they select the back row, like
No,
because Pollock comes on and gets like two turnovers, a try,
three.
carry, a fight. Like he's just everywhere in about 14 minutes, and he looks ridiculous. So like, how is he not starting? But then the three starting, like how, like they have to start. I don't understand how they can select that back row at the moment. The five of them are exceptional. Not
It's
even
insane,
mentioning
isn't it?
those who we've got Finn coming on, who is really pushing, starring at Bedford, and Archie Benson is the biggest man alive, isn't he? So how it's insane. And Angus Scott Young's having boxing matches in training at the Down Under. We've lost him this season as well. Like it's just yeah, the talent's unreal in that back row.
It's
Yeah,
insane, mate. It really is.
yeah.
I just can't believe, yeah. Is there a better impact player than Mr. Pollock, though? I don't think there's a more flared play. Like, no one can change a game. Like, I'm not trying to put it on him because everybody else play well, but he just does something, doesn't he? Every time. He's never quiet. Like you said, I think he had 3 turnovers. Wasn't trying to be. I wasn't sure.
Right.
Yeah, scored a try. He kind of started the fight, but I don't really think. I thought that was a bit naughty by. I don't know who it was. There, number 8 was it? It's seven, number 7 on Hutch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He threw 2
Yeah, that's what I mean.
punches. I
To be
can't
fair,
believe that didn't get seen.
it wasn't actually Pollock, to be fair, that even started the fight. Like he had, I think, 2 high shots within the space of like
Yeah,
30 seconds, and just didn't even like he didn't even acknowledge it. He just got up and carried on. But Hutch, for whatever reason, took serious exception to one of them, and yeah, it kind of started the fight. And Pollock's just over here, like I was happy to just carry on playing. To be fair, like, and obviously one got called against them anyway, as a for a penalty. But yeah, so I suppose you could argue that like he was tangentially involved in the fight, in that he's the one that got tackled, and Hutch was not impressed. But it was makes me laugh how much seems to be like the rest of the team that go to bat for Pollock, whereas Henry's just like, I'm gonna stay at the back. I don't actually really need to get involved in this if I can help it. I'll let the rest of my team protect me. Like it's really funny, but yeah, I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, like that try as well. Like, I know we think like we were winning sort of anyway, but like it really solidified the win, right? Like it was so
Yeah.
close for the whole game. Like it was actually a really, really important try. And sometimes you see discourse online of like, oh, why do we hype him up? He just has to pick up a ball and run. And I'm like, it's still a skill to be in the position that you need to be at the exact right moment to pick something up and run with it. You think it's such an easy thing to just pick up a ball and run. But I said, how often do we have to see him be in the exact right position time and time again to read the game before we're like, actually, he's actually like genuinely rugby smart. Like there's certain elements of luck to balls bouncing his way and stuff like that. And some of the tries he scored, I don't think anybody would doubt that. But I was like, he keeps putting himself in this position, sort of more so than any other sort of player that you see at this moment. At what point do we actually turn the discussion to no, actually, it's skill and the ability to read a game and to read a situation, and it's much more than just he's going to pick it up and run. I mean, he's also got lots of pace to him, so that helps obviously, and he does
Yeah.
a good splash at the end. But
Pace is a skill, right? Most players
yeah,
would die, most back rowers would die to be as fast as Pollock. Like there aren't as
most
many as fast as him.
most wingers would die to have his pace.
yeah.
Yeah, he's such like, yeah, it's a hard one because like you said, he's such an impact player. And did you not
No.
think like with the bench that we had, whilst it was tight, I always sort of thought, well, our bench is so strong.
Yeah,
You unleash that bench and it's going to have a big impact on the game. And it's a big thing in rugby at the moment, isn't it? Bomb squad or pom squad or whatever you want to say, right? But like we've this season seemingly, our squad is in that Goldilocks position whereby our bench is good every week, and it has an impact on the results. And I think it had an impact on that bringing Tommy Lockett on, who was quality as well when he came on. Ed Prowse did a few big carries, a few big shots, had a bit of physicality. Like Sale were they're a big side, and there's a bit of age in some of those players as well. And to be able to play at that level of physicality at that pace for that long, they struggled. And yeah, we got it was touch, but it was tight the whole way through. But we did pull away because I think they couldn't hang with us for the length of the game. that we put on the pitch, and I think yeah, it's because of the depth of the squad, and like you said about Chick, like one of Chick's real strengths is his what's the right word, but his sort of toughness over long periods. He's really robust. He can string a long run of games together and be great in all of them. And he obviously played like week in week out for Newcastle and took a hiding, and that's sort of given him that ability. But he's been rotated a bit recently, and they've kept him a bit fresh. And I think that's the strength you see of when you actually don't just overplay him because he's so strong, but actually give him a rest so that he can perform. You get performances like that. It would be too easy to go, like we did with Alex Waller, if you remember back when he played about 1 billion games in a row, because he was just so robust, wasn't he? But I don't think we ever got the best out of him because they played him every week. Whereas because they've got so much talent in the back row, they can rotate, and you see performances like that. Like Chick's probably getting the ability to get his best game on the pitch more often than he's ever done because there's so much talent. There's so much, they can rotate, and everyone, and because they're rotating, I'm sure it's helping the fitness because they're all staying fit. I mean, touch wood and cross fingers and whatever you want me to like. But like, how often do you get everyone in your back row fit at the same time? And we've had it. I'm really tempting fate, and I don't want to do that. But like we seem to have had this season clean slate, haven't we? At back rows, other than Kemeny got his knock, the head knock, which was he banged his head on the floor. Like they're all fit and firing, and it's allowing us to go really well. So yeah, class really. Not much more to say. I mean, should we move to have a look at the backs? They did play their part. Mitchell was class.
Mitchell was class. Yeah, he was. Yeah, there's no doubt he's the starting nine for England, isn't he? In this upcoming Six Nations, and I think it was important for him to put in a good performance because I think even he would probably admit like it hadn't been. It was a whole team issue as well, but like probably hadn't been at the level he'd wanted to have been for the past couple of weeks before that. So. But yeah, him and the rest of the backs were like locked in. Like it's the best performance we've seen from Fremo for a couple of weeks as well. I mean, obviously they put him back out onto the wing, so it unfortunately now just reignites the whole thing of where do you put him. Because I know he's happy playing in both, but he had a really good game, and again another mention for Ferbs, like hasn't played for a while, comes back on, and his first touch of the game is setting up a try. Like that guy is
poetry in motion.
Yeah, that guy is crazy. I think I was saying when I was watching the game with my mum at the time, I was like, I don't know if I can ever remember a player, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but like in my kind of recent experience, like I can't ever remember a player who comes back from such a long layoff and is that good. And he's done that more than once as well. Remember when he first came back and he had that performance that unfortunately meant further damage to his arm, but he was on fire before they brought him off. I thought he was like incredible at the weekend, and obviously it makes sense England have called him back up because they're 15 is definitely an area of, I think, concern for England, and so they're probably desperate to get him back in there. But yeah, I mean, that was just considering the issue he'd had was with his calves in his legs. Like to get the ball, be able to run that fast and set someone up, and you've not played for weeks is ridiculous.
Yeah, you could. I don't know if you've seen the video. They've slow motioned it and then played like classical music. Look, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
It was sort of a shame that he went off. Oh, that Bellew went off because, like, you want to see him at 15 because he's so good there, and like he had such an extra dimension for us at 15, and for England he'll probably had an extra dimension at 15. But like, it was a shame that he had to play at 10 for probably the last 15 minutes, and he did a good job and a great job, and he can definitely do that role. But when he's ball in hand, running, hitting gaps, plus distributing as a second receiver at 15, he's different player to anything else. He's sensational.
There could be fingers crossed. He's still not been announced he's signed for Queens yet.
No, the Mail are reporting that it's done, but we'll see. I mean, you said Fremo had a great game. I mean, Butcher probably try the season, didn't he?
Yeah. I can't believe he did. It was like an incredible pass from Hutch, which we've basically come to expect from that guy at this point. But I was like, you had it. It was in your hands. So
Yeah, you could argue Hutch didn't have to do that. He could have just popped it
No.
up nice and easy. But the other thing with Freeman as well. Sorry.
I was going to say, sometimes you just got to put flair on it, you know? If you can and you think you can get away with it, you've got to do it. And it landed in his hands. He just, for some reason, couldn't keep hold of it. But yeah.
Wasn't expecting that sort of flair and brilliance, was he? That's all. The other thing with Freeman as well was the interesting refereeing moment whereby the referee, who, I mean, we don't need to go into it, but he's abysmal. Like, there were so many mistakes in almost every phase of play. He's a terrible referee, but he was bang on apparently. In he was bang on apparently with the Freeman kicking it through for Pollock. I would have honestly thought if you're off the pitch and you touch the ball, you're off the pitch, so it's out. But you have to be in possession.
Yeah, exactly that. I was watching it in the pub. I didn't have the sound, so the minute he did it, I was like, "Oh, he puts in touch," and then it carried on, and then Pollock scored, and then you saw him talking, and he gave it. I was like, "Why is he giving that?" And then somebody's posted the rule. Yeah, that's a really. If he knew that rule, fair play to the ref.
He did. He explained.
He
He
did.
said he's not.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
he walked
but
it through. He said he's not in possession.
Yeah, it's interesting that the state of the rules and how some of them are kind of they don't come out very often or whatever, and obviously rules change all the time. That even the commentators were like, "Well, he's out," and I think everyone on social media was like, "He's out." I was like, "He's out." What's happening?
When you say commentator, you're talking Austin Healey here, and you may as well just listen to white noise when you listen to that. So yeah, don't listen.
But yeah, it's like 18-2D or something. That like as long as the ball doesn't pass the plane and you don't physically, you can kick it, you just can't catch it. And he didn't.
Can't be in possession of it.
Can't be in possession. Yeah, so you're allowed to kick it. And
I know because I've seen it multiple times. Normally, Christian Wade, you can be off the pitch and score. So if you're in, dead ball, and the ball comes through and you just tap it down, then that's a try. Which it doesn't seem logical, but I knew that was the rule. I've just never seen it played out on when in that scenario. But I would have. It does open up all sorts of if you sort of, throw the ball up in the air and run around, play off the pitch and catch it. Well, I wasn't in the possession of the ball, so I can, there's sort of there's all sorts of weird scenarios that players might start thinking they can do because possession of the rugby ball. Where is such a loose term? What's the definition of being in possession?
Yeah,
actually holding or in control,
surely the ball at your foot is technically in possession because you've kicked it. So
controlled it, isn't it? Yeah, it's a weird one, but the ref was right. He got it wrong, but he got it right.
I would say it was super important for him to be right about it as well because Sale had 2 points at that stage, and so it was a really important rule that he, if it had turned out he'd got it wrong, you'd be. Not that I think it makes any difference to Sale's hopes at this point anyway, but if it had done, you'd be livid if you got 1 point instead of 2 when you should have had 2. And like I said, it just tells you sometimes the confusion around it.
If they turned around and said, "Yep, no try, he's in touch," I'd have gone, "Oh yeah, fair enough."
Yeah. 100%.
And then it'd come out that he'd got it wrong. I'd have been, "Oh, that's a weird one," but I wouldn't have been so argumentative. "Oh, we got the rule wrong," because I'd have expected him to get that one wrong.
It must have happened to him in the past for him to know that rule. That's so niche, such a niche rule, isn't it? He must have come across it before.
I would argue it's his professional career that he should know the rule. But,
yeah. I think it's just funny that it meant that out of everyone, that the Sale fans wouldn't have wanted to score. It meant that Pollock still got to score and keep it on the sheet. Do you know what I mean? It's such a great way to end the game.
He didn't even celebrate, did he? He did his swan dive, I know, but he didn't get up and do his pulse. He just
he just stood there and looked at the crowd.
Which is a celebration in its own, isn't it? I suppose.
Hutchinson was the one who obviously doesn't score as often. Actually, came with a try celebration, throwing the ball up and pretending it was a pheasant. Yeah.
I bet they're all working on them now. Do you remember Tommy with his lawnmower and that? I bet they do up in the training.
They've had to. They had to because he did the lawnmower, and Finn Smith was so angry about it because it was such a bad celebration that they've probably had to. They've probably been shamed into having to come up with something. I mean, Pollock just doesn't. It doesn't really matter what Pollock does. It's going to be entertaining no matter what because all of his tries just are entertainment personified. But crazy kind of crazy way to end a game on kind of an obscure law that was probably not that obscure. It's just most people don't really know it. So
It was
Yeah.
important though. It was important because remember we were only 7 ahead, weren't we? We were only 7 ahead at the time. So if they hadn't given that and they'd got a line out, they could have gone for it and it could have been a draw. So it was very important. I know we were way fitter than them, but it could have just took an easy like a mistake in defence and boom, it's a draw. So it was quite a very important decision and fair play to him. Like Charles said, you don't sort of moan about the ref when you win, but yeah, he's not. There isn't many good ones, is there? Come on, you can count
No,
on one hand how
I
many
think,
good referees there are.
yeah, I think there's some acceptable referees. I think there's some referees that, like, they've been doing it long enough. They should be better, and I think he's probably one of those, in my personal opinion. I think there was so many errors. There were so many decisions whereby he's trying to make the game play rather than make a decision. Like, but anyway, it's irrelevant. Let's not, there's so many good things. Let's not talk about referees. One negative I'm going to point out is, once again, we've conceded a try by not having a guard in place from defence. The Rafi Quirk try, how is that gap there again? It's like it's systematically an issue that almost every week we seem to concede tries from someone just walking through the guard. And it's not a single player. This week it happened to be Coles, who was excellent and is excellent, but he just didn't fill in the guard. He just wandered off, left a big hole, and you leave a big hole for someone as quality as Rafi Quirk. He's gonna score, and that seems a fundamental systematic error in our defensive structure that just doesn't seem to be drilled.
Also from the restart as well. They scored from the restart, didn't they? Where we overlifted, totally missed the ball. They caught it, boom, try. It was just like Carpenter's, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we struggled with that all game. The restart. I know the wind was crazy, but we didn't seem to ever be in the right place. And the one where they scored from, like we didn't even seem ready. We were moving way too late. You can't do everything. In your training week, you've got to prioritize what you see as the priorities, and you could argue that they've probably, the last couple of weeks since the Bordeaux game, focused heavily at scrum time. Right, so if you're focusing heavily at scrum time, you can't focus on restarts. But
that's basics, though, isn't it? To be fair, it's a restart. Do you know what I mean? Like you lift a man, you have cover behind. There was no one there. He literally ran through, totally missed it. He caught it, bang, 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 tries. Oh my god!
So that's what that's what the problem was, right? So one thing that I've sort of noticed this season is a lot of teams who throw the lifter up, but it's the aim is to catch it. It's the person standing in behind them. So Sale a couple of times collected restarts exactly the same way. They had someone just behind, so it goes over the person, and actually they're kind of protecting the person behind who's actually the one catching the ball. And like we did it a couple of times where I think when we first did it, Tadaro, and I think the commentators made the same point, Tadaro is too far back. So once the ball is going to go over their heads, like there's a big gap for a Sale player to come in and get it. And then the second time we had the restart, Tadaro had moved up and he was the one that caught the ball behind them. So it is a kind of tactic of restarts where you throw a lifter up, whoever it might be, but actually it's more of a protection on the person behind them catching the ball. But like you said, you have to have someone behind them, and that time that we didn't, Tadaro was too far back from where he needed to be, and he had learned the next time. He stepped forward, he came in, and he actually collected the restart the next time. So it's one of those things that they kind of learn on the day as well. But actually sometimes it's actually designed to go past the lifter and to whoever is in the pocket behind them. That seems to be, all teams seem to be using that tactic at the moment. We're certainly not the only ones. It's just, we definitely fluffed one of those up quite badly.
Yeah, and young players are going to make mistakes, and obviously Tadaro was on. He's hot property at the moment. He's going so well, and he fixed his error in game, didn't he? He slipped off for a moment because he was probably thinking, "Oh, aren't I great? I'm the best try scorer ever." But I know he wasn't thinking this. But I was joking. But I'm sure he's a top lad. But the point being is that his mind wasn't on that particular skill at that particular moment. It was thinking about something else, and he made an error. The next time he was asked to do that skill or do that piece, he got it right. And so that's all you can ask of them, isn't it? But there are consistent pieces. Guard at the guard at the conceding tries from not having a guard in place has hurt us how many times this year? Like they need to, and that's because the defender's looking up, trying to get into the line, trying to hit someone, but they've got to the guard being in place. He's got to be the foundation of the rest of the line, and yeah, they've made that error too many times in my opinion, and it's the point now where other teams will be going, well, this is an area where we can hurt Northampton. We'll go against, doubt. I'm not sure who's going to be playing for Leicester at the weekend, for example, in the PRC, but they'll be thinking Saints are going to defend in the same way the first team defends. That's an area where we can target because it's the same error. There's something systematically there. But anyway, should we quickly do some predictions before we introduce our special guest? I can say last week we all got the result right. We were way off in the margins, and all our players scored. So it's a dead heat.
I didn't know you two had. I was like, damn it.
I had Coles. I was screaming with joy when he got over the line. So I was like, thank God. Because funnily enough, it was one of those where it was 4 forwards tries to 3 backs tries. I was like, I swear to God, if it ends up being 4 of the forwards and Coles doesn't get on this list, I'm going to be so annoyed. But luckily he did.
Surely, if it's a tie, it's whoever scores first.
We haven't got that rule in place, so we can't just introduce it now. But, I think that would work well with Tommy being the first over for you. But dead heat again. We're still. I mean, Si, you've probably won the season. That you fight is 5-1 to you this year. So
yeah, I didn't get one last year, so I'll take that.
And because of that, it's your turn to go first.
Oh my God! Crikey! Okay. I will never, even if we put out the under 4s against them, I would never let them beat us at the Gardens in a prediction. So I'll go 38-24.
So say again, 38.
38-24.
24, yeah. And try score.
I'll tell you what, as he's our special guest, I'll go Finn Brown.
Finn Brown, yeah. Go on, Jess.
I don't know, because I don't know who we're going to be putting out, so I can't even guess but I'm going to go maybe slightly lower scoring than that. Well, let's go 26-19. Try scorer. I'm going to go Toby Tame.
Tame, yeah, it's a good shout.
I'm trying to think of who would be.
Who will be playing?
The whole first team won't be playing, will they?
Well, that's what I mean. England have called 8 up plus Finn in their rehabbing, so we have
plus 2 Italians and 2 Scots.
2 Italians, 2 Scots. Yeah.
And I also think the under-20s aren't playing. So, like Pater, for example, I think is in the under-20s won't be available because he would be my obvious. He would be who I'd pick if he was going to be available. I've gone 32-21, and I'm going to go with Kakasau.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon he'll come in and you got to back the wingers to score, so that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's now time to introduce our special guest. He's a back row forward who was born in 2002. He signed for the Wasps Academy straight from school. Following the unfortunate demise of Wasps, he signed for Ampthill. He played there for a season before signing for Doncaster, where he had another strong season in the Championship. And ultimately then signing for Saints. This year he's been a regular in the PRC and we expect to see him at the weekend. And he's also played an awful lot of games for Bedford this season, including scoring the winner at the weekend versus Coventry. But Saint 2096, Finn Brown. Hi Finn, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, good. No, thanks for coming on. You fit and firing after getting the winner for Bedford at the weekend?
Oh yeah, it was a pretty good game. A couple little niggles from the game, but nothing. Pretty buzzing after the result.
Yeah. We'll get into your Bedford bits in a bit later, but it'd be really good to start with sort of your start in the game and how how you got into it, and because it's almost impossible to figure out where you're even from, by the amount of information on the online, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a pretty all over the place kind of journey into rugby. Straight out of school, I went into the Wasp Junior Academy. Well, Wasp Senior Academy, sorry. So obviously did that, and then obviously everyone knows what kind of happened with there. So that happened around October. Then I was kind of searching for a club for a month, and then Amptill came in, so signed for them for the rest of the year. Had a really good time, and then I was lucky enough to pick up Doncaster Knights off the back of that. So I was there for a season. Loved my time up there. Made some real good memories, real good mates. And then off the back of that, signed at Saints, and been here since then. So pretty all over the place.
And you said you signed into the Wasp Academy straight out of school. Was it a big rugby playing school when you came through sort of that traditional, or did you play club rugby as a junior? Or?
It was a bit of a mix, to be fair. So I started my rugby at Oxford Quins, and got referred to the Wasp DPP through there when I was 13. So kind of made my way through there, then made my way through the academy, and then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship and a bursary to Shiplake College, which obviously really helped my rugby and just my general way I've been brought up, really. So that was a massive bonus and something I'm very grateful still. And then kind of obviously got coached there really well, and then helped me transition into Wasps. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's a sort of a well-tread path, isn't it? Like those big public schools that give scholarships out to pick, young lads who play in rugby, and then they also get a fantastic education off the back of the prospects of being I think Furbank, for example, is a very similar scenario.
Yeah.
Like it's a well-trodden path that works very well for people, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is very good, and obviously I'm very grateful for the opportunity that they gave me to not only improve my rugby but improve my academics on the side of that as well. Yeah.
And getting into you started out at a club, etc. Who took you down to the first session? Was it family driven or nothing in the family or how?
Nah, it's a bit. So it's actually kind of weird. So I was playing football, and then my brother was playing rugby, and then
Right.
one year we just swapped one year like randomly, and then obviously I made. So he moved to secondary school, and one of the mates was like, "Oh, like I play rugby. Do you want to come down?" So he kind of got me into it, and then it kind of just kicked off from there. Like I was always pretty. A lot bigger than most people. I grew pretty early, so that's probably why I enjoyed it a little bit more. But yeah, it kind of started from there.
Is the mate that took you down still playing?
He doesn't know. He doesn't play anymore. I think he's in the police now. So it's quite a bit of a change. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And were you when you first got in, and were you always a back rower? Did you move around a bit or?
I moved around a bit, to be fair. I played a bit at centre. Then I went to second row. So I was about 6'4" at the age of like 14. So I kind of stayed there for a while. And then it's probably a bit of like persistence going through Wasps of saying I can play back row and I'm not just a second row. That kind of got me into where I am now. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the listeners, etc. Obviously, hopefully, have seen you play for Saints, number of times, etc. as well. But there might be some that haven't. And my take on your style of play is you're sort of a seven that's very similar in the fact to Tom Pearson in the sense of your ball carrying is a real big strength of yours. Would you say that's your style? That's the sort of player, that's the style of play that you fit into.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, to be fair. Like when I came into Saints, probably ball carrying wasn't one of the things I was very strong at, but I did a lot of work on it with James Craig and Matt Ferguson when he was here. He helped me a lot, and then obviously boys like Sammy G, like the way he carries the ball is pretty mental. So learning off those guys kind of helped me, and then I've been lucky enough to put it into a bit of practice in games where I've been on the back of some moves where I get a bit of license just to carry. So probably kind of that mold. But then I like to say that I bring like my own little X factor to it as well. So like I pride myself on my line out ability as well, and obviously getting around the pitch and defence as well. Something I take quite a lot of pride in.
Brilliant. Yeah, like the proper back rower then, good at everything. Yeah.
Just the head down, just run into stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much That's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, brilliant. I mean, just to then, cover off a bit more about before you got to Saints, etc. The sort of that unique scenario that Wasps. I mean, and unfortunately, it wasn't unique. There was a few other clubs as well. But what was it like when you're a young man, you're in the academy, you're sort of just at that age to sort of start moving towards first team rugby, and then suddenly, there's no job. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it's probably been well documented. It was pretty tough for us, like especially as I think I was 19 at the time, so it was pretty tough. I'd been on loan at Birmingham Moses, so I was still playing there. But you kind of, it's weird. It's like everything's been dragged from me. Like it's all I've known growing up since I was like 14 in the academy, like a club that I've had a lot of love for. And then all of a sudden, like one random Monday, being put into administration, people being made redundant. And I was like, I remember going home to my mum. I was like, it's like happened. Like I'm 19, I've just been made redundant. So yeah, it's a pretty it was a pretty weird experience. And obviously, we were all in shared housing, so we were in a big 16-bed house. So there's obviously boys coming from different countries. We're an Italian, a South African. So there's a lot of uncertainty about like how boys are going to get home, like finding clubs. Everyone's calling their agents, and obviously because it happened to Worcester a couple months before us. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you've got two full squad of players and academy players trying to go into teams where they've already got the same versions of you. So yeah, it was pretty tough there.
And was there any contemplation at that point of, I'm it's not going to work out, or were you always prepared to go to find a level where you can get the games and just keep chasing the dream, sort of thing?
It definitely crossed my mind, yeah, but I deferred from Loughborough University, so in the back of my mind, I kind of had that as a safety blanket. If I didn't want to keep pursuing rugby full time, then I've always got that to fall back on. But then I had a good conversation with my mum and my dad, and I was saying that like I'm in a very lucky position where I'm playing full time rugby. Like people don't get these opportunities very often, so I feel like I owe it to myself to give it a good crack to see how far I can really take it. So that kind of spurred me on, especially like being at Amptill, then being part time, or like the gym sessions, the training, doing that all by myself. Kind of like got that kind of motivation to keep me going. Without having that at the back of my head, just to owe it to myself, really. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So you said there though as well, you get a lot of love for Wasps. What's the team you supported growing up? I know you obviously ended up in their academy, but
yeah,
when you were looking out for a team when you were a youngster, was it Wasps?
Yeah, it probably was Wasps. I've actually been to a few Saints games, to be fair. So I've got an auntie who lives in Northampton. So I've got some pretty good memories of coming down here with her and my granddad, sitting in the cinch stand, watching some games. So yeah, I've got some pretty fond memories of that. So it was pretty cool actually when I went to look around the stadium before I signed. Have a look around, and be like, I used to sit there with my granddad. So but yeah. Growing up, it was pretty much I was Wasps through and through. Yeah.
Right, okay. And then you said there about sitting in the stands. Well, I mean, there's no sitting in the stands at Amptill, is there? I mean, it's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, it's a big slope, to be fair. Yeah, we probably get about 50 people there. Like lads used to take the mick, saying it's just my dad and his dog a lot of the time. But no, it's good. Like I love my time there.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Hi, Vin. Moving on to that, talking of Amptill and obviously Doncaster and Bedford. What was it like being a young back rower playing in the Championship? Because when we got relegated, we know it's a very, very tough league. It probably bloodied you quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, like I obviously spoke to my coaches at Wasps about what my ideas were going forward, and I just wanted to go out and play rugby and test myself in like the highest obviously position that I could get to as a 19-year-old. So I think I played 22 games for them in my first year, which is like that's invaluable experience. Like, I don't think obviously lads go on loan, but to be there fully and play week in week out in the Champ, which is a very good league, and you get tested a lot, especially as a 19-year-old. It helped me a lot because I learned a lot of the dark arts that you probably don't get taught quite a lot. Different stuff to do and different breakdowns, but yeah, it's just that game time, that experience has been massive for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it is. Doncaster's a lovely little club as well. I remember when we went there, it was voted one of our favourite away days, especially their. Is it the cow pie? I don't know if you had London.
The cow pie is pretty synonymous with Doncaster. Yeah,
it is. It's awesome, isn't it? Have you seen much difference? Because obviously now you're playing for Bedford because we're linked with them. Is there a lot of difference in the quality now? Because the Championship's so competitive. Because yeah. Have you seen a lot of change in those 4 years?
I think probably the Champs. There's a lot of more younger players coming through who are at very good levels. Some linked with Prem clubs, some who aren't. I think that's kind of ups the pace of the Champ. That might be because I've just moved to Bedford and let's play like a nice fast game. But for me, it definitely feels like the games are getting quicker, and the physicality is also ramping up. So yeah, that's kind of something I've noticed over the last 3-4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you've obviously followed in the footsteps of Tom James and Sam Graham, leaving Donny to come to Saints. Did you speak to them, or were they a reason that you signed for Saints? Because obviously they've been so successful here.
Yeah. Obviously, I never actually crossed paths with either of them before. So Sammy left 2 seasons before I went there, but obviously you could see how well the relationship was between Doncaster and Saints, and everyone kind of sees how well Sammy G and how well TJ has done going back. So it's obviously a well-trodden path, and it kind of gave me a bit of confidence going in that, like, it's worked, like their game's gone up, so hopefully it can improve my game.
Yeah. As we mentioned Sam there, as we know he's leaving, sadly.
Yeah.
Does that give you any big aspirations to fill his boots now he's gone? You're gonna be knocking on Douse's door saying they don't need to look for anybody?
No. We'll see. Like, it's, for me, it's probably just, I kind of focus on each week putting the best performances I can, and then whatever comes off the back of that is kind of out of my control. I just like to focus on what I can control, whether I'm playing for Saints or playing for Bedford every week. Just keep putting the best version of myself out, and then hopefully good things come off the back of that.
Yeah, cool. That's good.
Yeah, hiya. I just want to talk a little bit more about, the PRC, because we've got that big, the big block that's coming up now. And really, first, I just kind of want to get your sort of thoughts on like how you feel about, the competition, how it works for you in terms of, like Si just said, about your aspirations, about kind of pushing forward, particularly as it's, I think sometimes it gets a bit of an unfair rep as a competition that it's just there because the Six Nations is on and they need to have something on for rugby. But how do you feel as, a young player and it is a development tournament?
Yeah. I think it's crucial in the way teams develop. I think Saints, that you've seen well, that like I think they won the Prem Cup a certain amount of years ago, or they did very well in it, and then that's the group that's come through and won the Prem 2 years ago. So I think it's a well-trodden path. So if you bleed your youngsters in and that you get exposed them to these high level games in front of big crowds, then when it actually comes to big moments and they do make their Prem debut or European debut or something, it's not the first time they've done it or they've played in a big crowd. So yeah, I think it is key. And then obviously everyone knows it's not going to be perfect. Like, there's a lot of youngsters who been on loan all over the place. So it's about boys coming back in together. And we know that stuff is going to go wrong. And especially like every time we've played Leicester away at their place, stuff has gone wrong. But it's like those lessons are pretty invaluable for us young lads kind of bringing through. So next time we're in that situation, we do the more positive thing rather than the lesser.
And in terms of like training and prep when you're sort of in camp before the games that are coming, like, is it a very similar kind of experience that you sort of get during the rest of the season? Do they approach the competition in the same way, or do you notice a difference in kind of the messages and the way you get ready for it?
No, I like to say it's fairly consistent. Like we follow the same training week. Obviously, we're training there all the time, so it's pretty similar for us. It's just instead of wearing the red shirts, we flip into the black and the green ones for once. So, but that's it. To be fair, it gets treated the same. Like it's another opportunity for Saints to win some silverware. So, yeah, boys fly into it, especially those who haven't been playing or have been the wrong side of selection. Gives them an opportunity to rip in.
And do you kind of think further ahead in terms of, I want to play every game in this specific block in the tournament, or do you really just take it a game at a time, like get your game out on the pitch and put the best case forward for yourself?
Yeah, I'll probably just go game at a time because I bounce a lot between being at Saints and being at Bedford, so I tend not to think too big picture. I kind of like to focus on week to week and then come Monday see where I am and then go from there. It kind of makes it easier for me to focus on that game in the moment rather than thinking big picture at the time, just to focus on the job here and now.
Yeah. And in terms of, obviously this weekend it's Leicester, so that obviously has the whole derby rivalry around it. Is that something that you guys feel as much as you would in a Premiership game? Does that really kind of spur you on in terms of getting ready for it?
Yeah, I think everyone knows how big the rivalry is, and it's games that boys want to play in and give it to those lads and give their best account of themselves. So yeah, I think boys are pretty fired up for it. We won't talk about it too much. We like to focus on just what we're doing, but in the back of your head, you know that it's derby week and they'll be coming for us there.
And in terms of kind of thinking a little bit like beyond the PRC, even beyond the Prem, I know Si asked you a bit about like aspirations in terms of, Saints. Do you have any aspirations further than that? I know you're still quite young, but are you thinking kind of international representation? You'd like to kind of push for that?
Yeah, like it's obviously in the back of my head. I know that I've got a long way to go for that, but yeah, for me, it's probably just again, I like to focus on my week to week and just putting the best performances out, and then obviously playing well, good things come off the back of that. So that's kind of what I spend my attention focusing on, and whatever comes off the back of it comes off the back of it. Yeah.
I know other players that we've had on before as well have spoken about how kind of at the beginning of a season, like they'll have a meeting with Dallas or another member of the coaching team in terms of, I think Tom Lockett spoke really well about this, about you sit down and talk about what it is that you want to do over a particular season. I think his was to make it into all of the matchday 23s. Like, have you had that experience as well? Do they do that with everyone?
Yeah. So I had that at the start of the year. It's probably going off the back. I think my main goal for this year was just kind of have fun with it. I think a lot of last year, I got into my own head quite a bit about my performances, and that's probably when I wasn't playing my best. But the more I realised that it's just a game I've been playing since I was 13, 14 years old. I can just have some fun with it. That's when I started playing my best rugby. So yeah, for me, it's probably just to sometimes take a step back out of the bigger picture and just have some fun. Yeah.
And how much does it kind of spur you on, considering that, you're trying to make a case for kind of Prem performances and getting in teams for those? How much does it kind of spur you on the fact that obviously the team at the moment's doing very well from a European and a Prem perspective? Does it really push you on to say, like, I really need to get up to a particular level, or again, do you not really think about it?
Yeah, obviously, like it's great to see how well everyone's doing, obviously in Prem and Europe, and like you look at our back row and basically everyone who is an international, even like in my opinion, Sammy G should be an international, but you're competing against people who are like a top quality of their game. So no, it's a very good environment to be in, and obviously just by being with them and training with them, you learn so much anyway. So yeah, it's good to see how it's like the whole club's success is everyone working together. So it's pretty sweet to learn off these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just moving away from rugby slightly, something we was trying to ask everyone is kind of what they like to do outside of the game. Obviously, I know it's such a huge part of your life. You're, there training kind of day in, day out, but when you've got your own downtime, what kind of things do you like to do?
Yeah. Off time is pretty big for me. Yeah. So I'm currently studying at the Open Uni, so I'm doing sports coaching and exercise science. So that takes up a fair bit of my time. We've kind of got a good like board game group going on at the moment. So it's like me, Lockett, Hendy, Tom Litchfield, and whoever else we can drag in. We like to play like a lot of board games, and then escape rooms as well. Like we started doing that at the moment. we kind of go to an escape room, and we started like having a bit of an issue. Our first one, we went a bit too high on the difficulty, so we had a bit of a nightmare. There's a lot of arguing going on, and we didn't actually get out of it. But we try and do one a month. So we've got out of a few at the moment, and we're on a bit of a roll. And then obviously like the cliche like young 20-year-olds, like we like to play PlayStation with each other and just have fun like that. So yeah, that keeps me pretty occupied off the pitch.
And is anyone in that group, you mentioned like board games, anyone in there that likes to kind of cheat?
I'm not sure about cheat. Tom Litchfield takes stuff very seriously. Like he kind of prides himself. Like every away game, he's bringing the games on the bus, games in the hotel room. Like he prides himself on being very good at like board games and niche games like that. So Lockett's also pretty competitive as well. So yeah, I live with him, so he's downstairs at the moment, but we have some like competitive Scrabble matches, and he's pretty keen as I'm there.
Well, to be fair, that was the last thing I was expecting. I really wasn't expecting like a group of young lads to say Scrabble. So
yeah, it's not great, especially when you're dyslexic. It's a bit of a nightmare, but
yeah, great. You guys got anything else?
Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah.
A couple of things to pick up on what you've said, and then we'll go to Si's normal question at the end. But the first one is around the experience in the champ, etc. Because you're going from playing a really impressive season with Bedford. Bedford flying high again, as they seem to consistently do, on the resources that they've got, etc. But you're second in the league. What is it with Bedford that seems to deliver that because we heard in the paper this week, Donny are moving from a full-time basis to semi-pro, like part-time basis like Bedford are. What is it in that Bedford environment that seems to get consistently top-end results?
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. Like, obviously, you hear a lot of Bedford ex-players or ex-players in general saying like the best times of their career have been at Bedford. I think it's just how well everyone buys into what Mikey does and kind of the ethos around it. Like, it's a great place to be. Like, out of all the champ clubs I've been at, like, it's the most fun I've had. Like, with the brand of rugby, the lads off the pitch. Yeah, like it's hard to put your finger on one thing, but I think the whole kind of environment that Mike's created there is pretty good.
Yeah, your calves struggle after every game with that slope today.
Yeah, I remember like last year, the first time I went on loan there, it was like just off the back of pre-season. I was like absolutely blowing. I was like, oh my god, like if I just had not done pre-season, like I'm goosed. And then like we were going up there, and then we were going down the slope in the second half, and I was like, oh, like I get it now. Like, I played there when I was at Hampton, and I was like Donny, but like yeah, going up the slope in the first half, I wasn't prepared for it at all.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's you don't get that playing in the Prem.
No, they're a lot more flatter.
Yeah. Brilliant, cool. I'll leave Side to finish off with his usual question.
Right, Finn. I ask every player this: who is the best player you've played with, played against, and who would you love to play with? Past or present, it doesn't matter.
Oh, probably the best player I've played with. I'm gonna go. He's my mate as well. Probably Greg Fizzle out at the moment. He's tearing up at the moment for Exeter. What was the second question?
Who's best played against?
Best player I played against. Who have I played against? Who's good? Ethan Roots. When I played against Exeter, he was genuinely like banging boys, and he hit me once, and I was struggling for a bit of breath after that. And then probably someone that I'd want to play with. I'd like to have played with Thomas Young. He's someone who looked after me quite a lot when I was at Wasps and as a batter. So it would have been nice to actually play with him, but obviously he's doing well for Dragons at the moment. Yeah,
great player. Yeah,
yes.
Thank you very
Son
much.
of the coach, wouldn't he? Son of the coach as well helps. Yeah. Get involved with him. Yeah. Brilliant, Finn. That's been really amazing. Thanks for coming on. It's been great to have you on, and go well at the weekend. And I'm sure you'll have a great PRC. And when you get back to Bedford, I'm sure you'll have some great games there and plenty ahead in the future, I'm sure.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cool. I'll see ya.
Bye.
Yeah, well, that was another cracking interview with another really exciting young player to add to our list of interviews. If you've not listened to, please go back and listen to them. There's some really stuff that we're really proud of in there. But yeah, please remember to follow us on socials, like, subscribe, etc., etc. Leave us some feedback. But thank you for listening. I've been Charles. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. Thank you very much.